藤野ちゃん、今週の4コマもすっごく面白かったよ。
将来さ、漫画家なれるじゃん。
漫画家か。京本、誰それ。
隣の組にいる不登校とか。
藤野先生。
京本。
藤野先生は漫画の天才です。
私もっと絵うまくなるね、藤野ちゃんみたいに。
京本も私の背中見て成長するんだな。あんたいつまで漫画描いてんの？そろそろ絵描くの卒業した方がいいよ。何してんだ私。
じゃあ藤野ちゃんはなんで描いてるの？
Why do we draw? This is a question that I found the answer to very late in the journey. I could no longer see the crossroads from here, and hence I could change nothing. But Fujimoto sensei, he found the answer right at the crossroads. So the man went through the right path. And through his manga, we get to visualize the story of how he found his answer. Through his characters, in the light of his own vision, and their interplay together. Let's see the story right now. Fujino and Kymoto. So, Fujimoto. Yeah. The author basically hid the fact that he wanted the two to be alter egos of himself, Mary Sue's essentially, in this thing. But he didn't write them like Mary Sue's, I can tell you that. So, who's Fujino? Who's Kymoto? I'm gonna give you their 2 comic strips, and you tell me. Okay, so I first had a grin when I read the 4th grade version of their actual stories, and I thought to myself, this is funny. I know I'm not supposed to think that, it says something about me, but when I looked at Kymoto's art, it looked all empty. Why was that? We'll come to know in a little bit. So here's what happens. These 2 comic strips, they're from the school newspaper, and everybody likes the works of Fujino, and she gets an ego boost from everybody liking her work, just as one does. And when they essentially look at each other's artworks, they have different expressions. Kymoto's we'll talk about a little later, but Fujino's, here's this. An 4th grader who's better than me at art? That's not gonna happen. She grinds all day, she grinds all night, she grinds till the diamonds are inside. That's what happens basically. And at 6th grade, she burns out. Because there's this thing. A lot of adults tell you that you need to grow up from something. Like from drawing, from writing, all of these things. Maybe they are all pipe dreams from a young age. That's what happens to Fujino. She gets told to stop by many people at many points of time, and she's demotivated from the process. And she nearly quits. Yeah, deadass. She just stops drawing and says, hey, wanna hang out with me? And they go to an ice cream parlor. And then she goes out to a karate class with her sister. And then she hangs out with her family. And then one day, what happens is they graduate. And at the graduation ceremony, Kymoto does not attend it. Remember how I told you that the places Kymoto drew were always so empty? It's because Kymoto herself, does not really like socialization. So she does not really understand people as well as Fujino does. And as a result, what happens is, the old teacher tells Fujino, can you hand this degree over to Kymoto? We'll see why in a second. Now, Fujino goes and crosses the fields to Kymoto's place, and what she sees is just basically the door, and she knocks. Nobody's in, she barges in. And there are piles and piles upon sketchbooks upon her doorway and the planks beside it. There is basically so much. I don't really know, even if I have those many sketchbooks. No, I don't. Why am I comparing myself to a fictional character? Okay, so what happens now is Fujino sneaks in a nice little comic of how Kymoto is a shut-in and how she refuses to come out. Here's this comic strip. Read it. Okay, now what happens is there is no response. Fujino walks out, and then what happens is Kymoto just rushes out of the door and then rushes out of her own door and says, "Fujino sensei, you're a genius." Fujino sensei, manga tensai desu in Japanese. And when she says that, their friendship starts forming. Yeah, and that is basically how the whole story starts. From there, what happens is Fujino is a little bit motivated to draw again, and to keep her image up, she makes a white lie. Like, why have you stopped posting onto the school newspaper? Asks Kymoto. And then she says, because I'm gonna make a one-shot and give it to a magazine. I'm gonna take this thing up a notch. In reality, I personally believe she had no idea of what she was gonna do. But that's just me. And what she does is essentially make her own comic named Metal Parade. And of course the story is good because it's Fujino, and you saw her sense of humor at grade 4 and how she understood human beings at that age. So, judging by that, the Metal Parade manga essentially got into the magazine, and it was a runner-up, specifically speaking. And once that was over, they had it published, and it was a snowy day. They went to the supermarket and they bought their own copy, and with their sweaters and gloves, they opened the book, and their Metal Parade was in it. Must be really happy. It felt like the first time they got published. It feels like such an achievement, to be honest. I have never gotten published, but I'd say it will feel like an achievement. Okay, what happens now is next they make 7 more one-shots, and one story is named Bagworm. I remember that vividly, and the others I don't really remember as much. The next thing they did was they got serialized. The publishers said it was a long time coming since they were actually really good at it, and Shark Time was the name of the story. Such a cheesy name, but it got published. And it is a good idea to have a shark as a main hero, because a lot of people would or would not do that. And okay, now they're gonna get serialized. That's great, right? Jolly good, isn't it? But Kymoto wants to go to art college now, and there is strife between the two. Why? Because Fujino wants her trusted Kymoto to be her assistant, and she also wants Kymoto to idolize her, and she likes being idolized. Who doesn't like being idolized, to be honest? And what happens next is Kymoto and Fujino have to part ways. At first they fought, like, "Kymoto, if you want to grow, you can stick with me. You don't have to speak to new people." And then Kymoto is then like, "No, I will push myself through this. I can become better." And a lot of shitty chat later, Kymoto goes to art college, and Fujino sends her off with a bye. And yeah, that's where the devil starts to come into the story. Enter Kymoto's college. A little bit after Fujino's been serialized, on her desk side's monitor, a news plays. 13 are dead and 4 are injured in the accident that happened today. It wasn't really an accident. A psychopath in Kymoto's college swung his pieces of art equipment, let's just say, and he injured all of them wildly, and Kymoto on that day passed away. And then Finally, after Kymoto's death, Fujino is in funeral clothes and she looks at Kymoto's photos. Why did I draw that? Why did I meet Kymoto? If I had given up drawing completely, Kymoto and I could have met today because I would have learned karate and I could have stopped Kymoto from getting killed. A lot of these thoughts filled her head. You see, it isn't easy being very creative. You get a lot of thoughts of your own inadequacies by your mind connecting the dots in a lot of crazy ways. And once that happened, she hates drawing for a while and she goes into Kyomoto's room. And over there, she finds the first draft of Metal Parade. She laughs and she cries at it. She lies on a pillow. Her eyes are filled with tears. And then she looks at Kyomoto's shelf. 11 volumes of Shark Time. And at the end, volume 12 to be continued in volume 12. A message is written. Fujino looks back now at the memories that she had with Kymoto in her mind. And she thinks of the joy she had while creating those things. She thinks of her joy of creation. And that is the reason why Fujino continues to draw. She takes up the paper, she goes to her own drawing room, and she draws again. Fujimoto sensei's answer was something I really enjoyed. I usually read a lot of sci-fi and a lot of fantasy, but I never take the time to appreciate the nuances of slices of life, let's just say. And this one I enjoyed. And yeah, it made me want to finish Inktober more, which is a challenge I'm doing right now. Okay, that's quite literally about it. That's all I had to say on this thing. Less is more. Do stuff that'll help the channel, like subscribing, bell buttoning. If you could hit the hype button for me, I would be really grateful to you if you did that. Thanks for watching. My name is Monish. Goodbye. Here's a bro fist. Boom.